and welcome to the podcast where friends discuss environmental policies from around the planet.
Hey guys, we are back with an extra policy. We are really sorry for an abrupt break, but hey, if Simone Biles can dip out of the Olympics on account for her mental health, we can take a minute, right?
Yeah, but we missed you guys.
We really did. We were caught up with our stuff, but we are back with more energy than ever.
Yes.
Yes, with a lot more energy. And today we are talking about flooding. So recently, especially in the last month, we've seen a lot of floods in different parts of the world, and some of the most developed infrastructures of the world proved to be insufficient. So today we'll talk about the recent heavy rainfall that we've seen that has led to what is called flash flooding. Now, to give you some background on what flash flooding is. Flash floods actually happen during really intense rainfall, and that's when the amount of water is too much for the drains and sewers to deal with. Now, it can occur very quickly and without much warning. Roads can become unpassable with vehicles abandoned and homes and shops damaged by floodwater. Now, floods affect key public infrastructure, including transport, networks, and hospitals. Now, we know in New York City, the subway is flooded, remember?
Yeah.
So it really is just the drainage system's not working out. In London, some hospitals had to ask patients to stay away because they lost power and they really couldn't have any more patients coming in.
That's so crazy to me. Like, during this pandemic, healthcare workers are already stressed, and now it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Half the hospital is filled with people dying, and the other half is filled with water.
Yeah. And then you've lost power, so you can't even help the ones who are actually there for other stuff.
Such a bummer.
Honestly. So urban areas, they are likely to experience this type of surface water flooding that we call, because they have a lot of hard surfaces. And we know soil is what absorbs water, right?
Yeah.
So in these urban areas, everything is paved, from their front gardens to roads to their car parks to their high streets. So when rain hits it, it can't soak into the ground as it would do like on the countryside. In many places, like much of the UK, there's very old sewer systems, and they were built on what their historic rainfall projections used to be. But now, obviously, because of climate change, that has changed significantly. Right? And the heavy rainfall has also increased, so the flooding has increased. So do you think that the rains are actually because of climate change? I know there's a lot of people who want to argue us on that. So what's the science about this? What does science say?
I mean, so technically you can't really say this one event in one place is all due to climate change. There's a lot of factors, but you can link it, right? And the reason you can link it is because of what you said. Precipitation happens, and that changes your rainfall projections significantly. And so what we're having is all these temperature shifts are leading to more precipitation than expected. And our atmosphere is holding more moisture than we initially expected it to. So now we're having these extreme weather events as well. And you also have to think about rivers and other bodies of water. They're having different currents than they used to. And that's leading to even more precipitation in the atmosphere. Even if total average rainfall is not changing rapidly, there is still those incremental changes, and so that's what you're saying. And when people build cities, they just didn't think about stuff like this, unfortunately.
And also there's more extremes. So when there's longer drier periods, there's more intense storms, and when rain hits after a very long drier period, like after a drought, soils are less likely to be able to absorb the water, and then it's obviously going to cause more flooding.
Right.
And we've seen these heavy floods. They've been happening around the world, right? And they leave a really devastating mark. And before that, like, to these developing countries, it has been happening for a while, and we don't bring any attention to it. But now it's happening in developed areas, right? Like, people are saying, oh, you don't expect this to happen in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
So do you, now we're seeing, the infrastructures of some really big and developed cities, now they're falling in the face of climate change. Do you think it's just a single year of more rain or just one anomaly that has happened? Or do you think this is a pattern that we're going to see over time?
I hate to be like Miss Debbie Downer, but I feel like this is something that we are going to see more of in the future, especially because the world is becoming more and more urban. You know what I mean? So it's that concrete that, you just talked about, Ajwa. We're having more and more concrete on the ground. So, for example, according to the European Environmental Agency, Paris, Thessaloniki, Bucharest, and Barcelona are among the cities with more than 3/4 of their surface area sealed. And so with all that concrete, and what that means is that they are at a higher risk of surface flooding, right? And of course, it's not just going to stay in those countries. I mean, other countries have issues as well. But this place has over 3/4 of it sealed. This is actually something that, I know we don't do this a lot, but this is actually something that U.S. States are generally better at, maybe because the U.S. is such
because they have such a large rural land.
Yes, of course, there's like horrible drainage. Like, don't get me started. Living in Texas, I don't even know. The drainage in Texas is worse than the drainage in Florida, which is hilarious, but also in a sad way. But like, it can spill off. Where I live, almost Mexico, middle of nowhere, is surrounded by farmland. And there's like, they cut up a lot of the cities, you know what I mean? So that you have city, but then you have some rural area and things like that, or it's surrounded by coastline. So I will give this to most American cities that they are better prepared than Europe. That being said, extreme weather events due to climate change are definitely going to escalate the disruption of infrastructures. And the problem with this is, to tackle flooding, you need strong infrastructure. But unfortunately, when you have flash flood after flash flood, where it becomes, a series of events, it is hard to repair infrastructure because it's damaging the infrastructure, right? It's disrupting the performance of it in that region, and you don't have time to repair it. So it becomes kind of cyclical. You know what I mean? And of course, we already see that affecting public health, and it's going to affect the economy as well. If you think about it, like an example, if your drainage network cannot contain the surface runoff that you have, then you get that flood, you know what I mean? And the thing about floods is they carry diseases, of course, but also people can't get to work, people can't really be moving about, and it costs money to attend to an area after a flood. So there's that connection between the infrastructure and the flooding, where you kind of need one to be up. You need that infrastructure to be good, but at the same time, like I said, the flooding is affecting it. Not to mention all the money that you spend on it. You know what I mean? You have like hydropower dams and geotechnical structures that are supposed to last up to 100 years. But with increased weather events, especially floods, it kind of shortens the lifespan of those things considerably. So it's making it harder to date these large facilities. And I think like moving away from the developed nation a little bit. I know last year, I think this was like the biggest story that I've ever seen about floods in a developing nation spreading. Well, not the biggest ever, but last year it was. And this was in Senegal. I don't know if you remember this. 6 people died and 4,000 people were displaced. But I think that was the issue, especially in the capital city of Dakar. It's all the amount of people you saw displaced and how much damage was done.
Yeah, no, we see floods literally like in the developing parts of the world. And they're not just like during extreme rainfall seasons. We are seeing them throughout the year. Like Islamabad, technically the capital of the country, is well developed. This entire area, the one that flooded, is actually built on practically what is illegal land, because the soil is so terrible. Like it's really uneven land. They haven't evened out the land. There's still, like, people have these massive houses, and right behind these houses there's these slums, right? Because there's no regulation on this. And of course, you're just like randomly going up to a place. You can't just see ground and start building there. There's no drainage system. If there's a little bit of rain and then there's so much population around and you have now these roads that are not going to absorb this rain, it is obviously going to, like, it was such bad destruction. Honestly, I felt so bad. Like, there were cars that were just being taken away. It was like a river on the road.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, as population grows, Islamabad has been expanding. This sector didn't even exist like 12, 15 years ago.
We have a similar problem in Nigerian cities, particularly the city of Lagos. There's this really rich area called Lekki in Lagos, and it's hilarious because people will build and buy houses that translate to like anywhere from upwards of 200,000 to like $500,000 houses, but you're paying to live in this area that's perpetually flooded. I mean, just slight rainfall and it floods. It's actually really bad. The infrastructure is bad, and like we said, infrastructure and flooding are connected in that you need a break from the flooding to fix infrastructure. And if the infrastructure is bad, the flooding is worse. It makes the infrastructure worse, blah, 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 blah. And that place is a perfect example of that. And it's also a perfect example of the fact that money will not insulate you from climate change, guys. Eventually, there's this like Nigerian slang, and it's like people say like you go touch everybody, and the thing it means, eventually there's certain things that will affect you, rich, poor, any race, whoever you are, and this is one of them. Flooding is going to affect all of us, and we really need better infrastructure around the world in different places. It's important.
Yeah, I think like flooding is one thing that brings everybody together now, especially now even more so. And climate change will make a lot of people realize that we are one and the same, because now when your countries are not, like, your infrastructure is not being upheld either.
Sure.
Nobody cared for them before when it was happening. Like Indonesia, I think, suffers one every few months they have one.
It's so sad.
In Pakistan, we have a lot of flooding, dude. Like, I'm not even kidding. We have droughts. Like, in the same Pakistan is not even a big land, but we'll have a drought going on in one place and, like, flooding in another. And the same place will have drought and flooding, like, literally follow each other within the same year.
Yeah.
So it's, no, honestly, climate change is what's going to make us all realize that under the sun, we are all one people. And it will destroy us collectively.
Yeah.
Unless you're like uber rich and then you can build yourself a bunker or go hang out in space until we all burn. But, you know,
yeah.
Other than that, it's going to bring a lot of us together. Like, there are technologies, there's people who have engineered really new systems that are going to really help with. So next time somebody's building a house, make sure that, like, you know, the equipment that you're using in your house is going to actually last you a long time. There's this ad actually that comes on TV over here. It's like, yeah, you want to save money, but houses should last a long time and they should survive a lot of extreme weather situations. So we are coming up with a lot of infrastructural materials, like the cement bricks that they're coming out with. There's a lot of 3D printing that is happening in this arena. So let's hope that the world is going to fight it with all its resources.
Yeah, let's hope that. Speaking of solutions, we're going to highlight the Disaster Relief Emergency Fund. It's a program under the European Union that provides rapid financial assistance to the National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. It enables first responders to carry out their vital roles. So it provides immediate startup funding to kickstart response for major disasters, and it also provides grants for small-scale disasters. Currently it helps 12 million people annually, with natural disasters to political disasters to food insecurity. So it's an important fund that we need. Let us know what you guys think about what cities should be doing to curb climate change. If you're in the U.S., maybe give us your opinion on this whole infrastructure bill situation. So thank you guys for joining us in this extra policy. We hope you guys are having a good summer. If you guys find anything new, share it with us. We will return with Series 3 in a month. But until then, stay in touch on social media. Twitter, Planet Policy Pal. Instagram, Planet Policy Pals. Subscribe on YouTube, where we have captions if you need them. And like our Facebook page. Catch up on some old episodes while we're away, you know what I mean? And as always,
Keep
learning, pals.